Hey guys, if you're watching this video, you need to make sure that you've already assembled your VOCAS Shield because we're going to be using it in the tutorial I'm about to show you. Now with that assumption, in this video, we're going to take your VOCAS Shield connected to an R3 platform board. In this case, I'm using a Mega. You can use an Uno if you want to. Shouldn't be a problem. We're going to connect it to our program called the VOCAS Dog App that runs on a Windows PC, and it allows you to record and recall different smells that you've recorded with your VOCAS Shield and also see live sensor data. Now we're going to do it with a USB cable, and I'm also going to show you how to set up the XB so you can do it wirelessly as well. So for this project, you will need a few things. Obviously, you will need your VOCAS Shield. I'm using the basic, but you can use whichever one you want. You will need an R3 platform. I'm using a Mega in this case. A lot of people use an Uno. Doesn't matter. If you want to do the wireless, you'll need two of these bad boys. They're called XBs. I have two Pros, XB Pros. You don't have to have a Pro. That's just the kind that I have. Now to use those, I have what's called an Explorer board. I use this. I can plug the XB into the Explorer board and then use a USB cable to plug the Explorer board into the computer, so I can do two things. Number one, it allows me to program the XB because we need to change a few parameters on them before they can work with our program. And number two, you need to have the XB plugged up to the computer to receive the data from your Shield if you're going to do the wireless communication method. If you're not, then you don't have to worry about it. And lastly, you will need a USB cable to program your Arduino, and if you're not doing the wireless communication, you'll need it to send the serial data. Now, we actually need to download a few programs before we can start doing anything. You're going to need XCTU, which is what we'll use to program the XBs. We will use Arduino, their IDE, to program our Arduino, and we will also use processing, which is the language in the IDE that we actually built the app with. So I'll show you guys where you can download that stuff, which we conveniently placed on our website for you. So on our website, you can download the Arduino IDE, the processing IDE, and the XCTU. You only need XCTU if you plan on using the wireless method. If you do not, you don't have to worry about XCTU. Now, if you do plan on using XCTU, you're going to have to use it to program your XBs. So you're going to put the XB on the Explorer board, and you're going to connect the Explorer board to the computer with a USB cable. You can go ahead and open XCTU. And you're going to have to do this for both of your XBs. What you want to do is click the little XB with a magnifying glass. It's going to search. Now right here it says COM7 on my computer. You want to remember the COM port that you have for your XB. So COM7. Select it. Now generally an XB is going to be set at 9600 baud. Mine has already been programmed for this program that we're doing, so I have it set at 19200. So I have both checked so it can search for XBs that are programmed with both. There we go. Add selected devices. Now you want to click on it, and it'll read all the parameters that it can from the XB. Now the one that we're interested in changing is the baud rate. Now like I said, it should start off at 9600. Mine has already been programmed, so it's at 19200. You want to find the baud rate. You want to go from 9600 to 19200. It's very important that you actually change this to 19200, otherwise you'll get really weird ASCII characters on your serial terminal. Now after you've selected your new baud rate, take note of the channel that this is on. Mine I've set to channel C. You do not have to. But what is important is that when you have both of your XBs set up, you need to make sure that this value is exactly the same for both of your XBs, otherwise they will not communicate with each other. So in my case, I have channel C, and I changed it to 19200 baud. Now we're going to click the write button. In my case, I haven't changed anything. Yours will write the new values. After you do that, you're going to have to do it for the next one. So let's remove this XB. He's already been programmed. Plug in the other XB. Search for devices. There we go. Now in my case, they're already both on channel C, so I don't need to change that. And you do want to make sure, it's very, very important, that this is 19200. After you've updated both of those, you want to click write. Again, I don't have to rewrite it because I've already programmed mine. And you can exit out of XCTU. Now once you've done that, you need to make sure that you've put together and we need to program the Arduino. So you want to connect the Arduino to your computer with the shield on it. Whether you plan on doing the wireless communication or not, this is also a vital step. If you go to our website, you can click right here and download zip files of the Arduino program and of the processing program. Now I've already downloaded those. Go to the downloads. Let's extract. Now first we want to open the Arduino program. Go to Tools, Board. In my case, I have the Mega. If you have an Uno, you'll select Arduino Genuino Uno. You need to make sure that you have the correct processor selected, in my case, which I do. And you want to select the COM port that your Arduino is connected to, not the one that the XB is connected to. So we have COM 14 in this case, which you also need to remember this for your computer. Whichever COM port your XB is connected to, and whichever COM port your Arduino is connected to, you need to remember both of those. So we're going to upload the program. Now it says done uploading, so we know that's completed. We can go ahead and check the serial terminal. Make sure that yours says 19200 baud, otherwise you'll get strange ASCII characters. So it looks like it's actually spitting out the sensor data, which is good. Now you want to go up a couple levels, and you want to open up VOCAS Dog V2.1, not the Arduino program. This is the processing program. And you want to open the one that's VOCAS Dog version 2.1 PDE. So before we can do anything, we have to install something called Control P5. It's what we use to create our GUI elements. To do so, you want to click on Tools and Add Tool. we're going to go to the Libraries tab and search for Control P5. Once it pops up, you want to click on it and select to install. Now this is why it's important that you remember the COM ports you had selected. You want to scroll down to line 82, and right here I have COM14 selected as my COM port. Now that means it's going to use the USB cable to transmit the serial data to my processing program, since my Arduino is connected to COM14. If you want to use the XB, you need to enter the COM port that your XB is connected to. In my case, it's COM7. For now, I will just use the regular USB communication, which is COM14. If you hit the run button, it will start the program. Here we go. Now down here, you can see the 4 sensor values. Up here is a stop button to exit the program. Here's a guess button. What this guess button does, it takes the current sample data from the sensors and cross-references it with anything that you've pre-recorded as a saved smell in your processing program. Now, since we haven't recorded anything, it has no idea what that is. Now let's do an example. Let's say you have an expo marker that you want to expose to it, and you want to save it. Once we expose the expo marker, you see there's a drastic change in the signal. So let's hit number 3, because we have the image of expo markers associated with number 3. Now if we expose it again and hit guess, it recognizes that's an expo marker. But we let it go back to about its baseline values away from the expo marker, it should recognize that it's not an expo marker and go back to the next nearest thing that it remembers. Now if we want to use the XB communication, you can stop the program, find where you have your COM port selected, change it to the COM port of your XB, which mine is 7 in this case, and run the program. And it works exactly the same way. Hey guys, this is a basic overview for the 2 codes that we use for the VOCAS Dog App. We have the Arduino code and we have the processing code. What we're looking at here is the Arduino code. Now at the very top we include the software serial so that we can do serial communication with the XB. The line below it we use software serial to assign the RX and TX pins for the XB. And in the setup loop we set up the hardware serial right here and the software serial. Both of those are set at 19,200 baud, so it communicates properly with our processing code. In the void loop, we have a basic for loop that iterates with 4 total iterations. We print each of the sensor values, so this analog read iterates every single time, so it'll be 0, 1, 2, 3. And we print each sensor value divided by 4, so the range is 0 to 255 rather than 0 to 1023. Now we do that on the hardware and the software serial. Now we have a delimiter that is a space
And our terminating bit is this return right here to signal the end of the packet. So that means we have a packet with 4 sensor values and space delimiters and a return as the terminating bit that will be sent through the serial terminal. Now in our processing code, at the very top we have a basic overview of how to use the code. So if you skipped the entire beginning of this video and you have everything done, but you don't really understand how to use the processing code, hopefully this will give you some guidance. And we also have how to save a new smell signature. Now at the very top, we import the basic libraries that we need. This control P5 is fantastic for creating GUIs for any of you that actually want to create your own program. And the reason we did this with Arduino and processing was so any of you guys can look at this, say, hey, I don't like the way y'all did this. I can change it, I can manipulate it. That's great. We want you guys to do that. Now right here we're setting the basic colors. We assign sensor variables. Here's the basic settings. We select our COM port, which is discussed earlier in the video. We also have this variable called mockup serial. So if you're doing debugging and you want to have as few variables as possible, this gives predetermined waveforms across the serial as opposed to variable sensor data. So if you're debugging and you want to have waveforms that you know what to expect, this is what you can use, and you can just set it to true. In the setup, we pretty much set up all the properties for the GUI elements, such as the buttons, the graph colors, all of that fun stuff. In the key pressed, it literally is what you think it is. It's what reaction occurs whenever a key is pressed to save a smell. This byte in buffer is where we read in the packets that we send from the Arduino code. Now this void draw is the main loop of a processing program. How in Arduino you have void loop, which is the basic one that everyone knows about. Here is void draw in a processing program, and that's the one that you have as the main loop. Now right here we're checking the mockup serial. If it's false and the serial port is available, then we go ahead and, or the mockup serial or the serial port is available, either one of those. We do the basic loop that we have to where it actually reads in, it parses the packet and assigns the sensor values, and then it updates it into the line graph. Now down here we have actual event handlers so that we can assign images to be displayed for whichever smell is recognized. So earlier in the key pressed, we have it to where it assigns values whenever you press a certain button. Down here, whenever you click the guess button, this knows which one to load, which image to load, based on which smell it thinks it's detecting. And the default being the question mark if it really doesn't know what it's smelling. So that's the basic overview for the Arduino code and the processing code. So you guys can make improvements, changes, whatever you want to tailor it to your needs. We've just given you the template.